Hello students, I am soft skills trainer from Department of Career Planning and Development, Chandigarh University. So students, today we'll be covering one of the favorite topic in grammar, that is your subject verb agreement. Generally in your test wherein you need to find some error in the sentences, this particular topic covers a lot of questions and a lot of questions comes from this particular topic. Okay, so let's start with this particular topic, subject verb agreement. Okay, first we need to understand what actually your subject verb agreement is. So a subject verb agreement is nothing, it is the use of the verb according to the number of person of a subject in a sentence is your subject verb agreement. For example, if I have 2 or 3 subjects, then I'll be using plural verb. If I have only one subject, then I'll be using only singular verb. The thing is, at times there are certain rules we need to abide by whenever we are solving this sort of exercise, this sort of questions. So let's start with the basics first, and then gradually we'll move on to the rules covering this particular topic. So here's this example number 1, he comes. So subject is singular, that's why the verb is also singular. They come, the subject is plural, and that's why the verb is also plural. It's important to identify the correct singular or plural verb form of the verb in order to correctly use the form of the verb. So now at times we get confused. For example, your noun and verb are actually different. Your noun and verb are actually different, the way they are formed. We'll look into that also. So your singular, for example, singular is, plural is are, singular is has, plural is have. So singular verb was, plural verb were. So how actually you form a singular verb? So we take the first form of the verb and then we add s or es, like plays, goes. It actually is a singular verb. And also in plural, what we do, we actually eliminate the s or es, then actually it becomes a plural verb. Moving on forward, there is this basic difference that you need to remember between noun and verb is noun plus ses is a plural noun. For example, boy is a what? Is a singular noun. Boys is a plural noun. Okay, now come and comes. So what is the difference between that is? Comes is actually used for singular verb. It's a singular verb used for a singular noun. And come is actually a plural verb used for a plural noun. Okay, so verb plus s/es, actually it forms a singular verb. So your come is a plural verb and comes is a singular verb. Okay, is the basic thing. So your book is singular. If we talk about noun, your book is singular, your books are plural. Chair is singular, chairs are plural. But if we talk about words, your reads is a singular verb and read is a plural verb. Dances is a singular verb and your dance is a plural verb. Okay, now we'll move to the important rules of subject verb agreement. So the first rule is, two subjects, whenever they are joined by and, they actually require a plural verb. That's as simple as it can be. We have 2 subjects, that means we'll be using plural verb. Rohan and Ajay are coming, simple as that. Now there is exception to that, or a bit of kind of a sub rule in that. If 2 or more nouns/adjectives are joined by and but referring to one person, thing, idea, then we use a singular verb. See, you need to actually learn this basic thing is, see, the English is just a language and we have a grammar and we have a lot of exceptions in the grammar. But we cannot I cannot ask you to memorize all the rules and regulations, but you can have a simple idea regarding those things. Like this particular thing, if there are 2 nouns or let's say adjectives, they are joined by and, but actually they are referring to one person, thing or idea, that means they are actually one, they are used for one person, they are used for one place or something like that. So then you'll be using a singular verb, that's it. So my friend, philosopher and guide have come. That's a wrong thing, because the thing is, the particular person is using 2 adjectives for his friend. So the right way to frame this sentence is, my friend philosopher and guide has come. He has used two adjectives, philosopher and guide. Slow and steady win the race. Again, this is really important. At times whenever we see these sorts of question in your error detection, we take that as it doesn't have any error, but I've told you slow and steady, they are actually referring to one thing. Okay, so it should be wins the race. Fish and chips, actually it's a whole meal. I'm not saying it differently. Fish, I know it's different. Chips, it's also different. But now it's a complete meal. It's a one meal. Okay, fish and chips. It's a combination of two things. Now combination of two things is one for me. So fish and chips are my favorite dish is wrong. Fish and chips is my favorite dish. I hope you are following me on these rules. Okay, rule number 2. In a sentence, verb should be according to the main subject. Again, it's really important. For example, if the main subject is singular, you will be using singular verb. It's plural, again plural. We generally, but actually what we end up doing is, we end up doing matching the verb with the nearest subject. So there are certain rules regarding that as well. Okay, but first you need to match the verb with the what? With the main subject. Okay, so the example for that is, the quality of apples is good. Now at times what people generally do is they somehow use are in place of is. So the quality of apples, they think it's a plural noun, so they actually use plural verb. But here the quality is your main subject. So quality is singular, you cannot count that, and things which cannot be counted is considered to be singular, and we use singular verb with them. Okay, he and not his parents is guilty. So again, this can be a confusing sentence if it comes in your exam, but you need to remember, like, he is the main subject, he and not his parents is guilty. Okay, so rule number 3 is, when two subjects are joined by using these sentences, okay, as well as, so along with, and not, except, rather than, nothing but, less than, like, unlike, and no less than, then the verb will be according to the first subject. It's a basic rule that you need to remember. Okay, so Ram as well as his parents is coming. My father, unlike my uncles, is very strict. The captain along with his sailors was drowned. Again, we have these things. Parents is plural, uncles is plural, sailors are plural. Okay, uncles, parents, they all are plural. But our main subject is what? Ram, my father, the captain. Actually, they are the main subject. That's why, because these set of words as well as along with it, they actually try and tell you which is the main subject or not. Okay, but just to learn this particular rule, we said whenever we will sing these sets of word, we'll be using verb as per the first subject. Okay, now when two subjects are joined using neither nor, either or, not only but also, okay, nor or, not but, then the verb will be according to the nearest subject. It's quite opposite to the previous rule number 3. So examples are, neither Ram, neither Sham has come. Both are singular, no problem. Either Ram or his friends have come. Now need to understand, this is plural, then again we'll be using this verb in plural, because as per this particular rule, we'll be forming our verb as per the nearest subject. Moving on to the next, has Sham or Ram come? Again singular. Either my sisters or my mom has sent me. Present mom is here is what? It's singular. Not only Tom but also my teachers are going to attend the show. Again, teachers is plural, that's why we are using here a plural verb. Again, rule number 5, if plural number is represented as a singular unit, then the singular verb is used. This is the I've told you this regarding this particular rule in the first set of rule, that you need to understand how that idea or that that thought is being represented. If that particular idea, thought is giving you a feeling, actually at times you need to feel the language as well. If that particular idea or that thought is giving you a feeling of one, so please use singular, otherwise use plural. Okay, If plural number is represented as a singular unit, then singular verb is used, but if it is represented as a plural unit again, then you'll be using plural verb. Simple as that. So 10 miles is a long distance. So why not be using 10 miles are? Because we are actually representing it as one unit. 10 mile. For example, 10 packets. 10 miles. Okay. Are you getting it? Then we'll be using what? Single this particular thing, singular verb with that. Again, 100 rupees is in my pocket. 100 rupees. One note. Actually, I'm talking about one note. 100 rupees are to be distributed among students. Now understand this thing. Now this particular 100 rupees is soon going to be distributed among different students. That's why here actually I'm using are. But in this particular in the above example, prior to this 100 rupees are, we have 100 rupees. We are actually representing 100 rupees as a singular unit. That's why we are using singular verb. Again, 5,000 rupee is a handsome amount. Again, 5,000, a set of 5,000, something like you can, you want to imagine things. 5,000. 5,000 rupees are spent on different commodities. Again, 5,000 rupees now it will be spent on different things. It no longer remain a singular unit. That's why we are actually using are. Okay, moving on forward. Okay, it's a simple one. Collective noun. See, collection of anything will give you a feeling that it is one, and with one, or if anything, if any idea or any thought is giving you a feeling of one, then you will be using singular or plural. You will be using singular verb. So but if there is difference among team members, now it's really important to remember this particular point as well. But if there is difference among team members, then it is used in plural. Again, let's just see some examples. The jury is deciding the matter. That means jury is acting as one team. They all have similar thoughts. That's why jury. The herd of cows is grazing. This is the most common example that you generally see in your exam at times, at lower levels, because the thing is what students end up doing is placing are in place of is, but the main verb here is your herd. This is the collective noun. So the herd of cows is grazing. The committee has unanimously taken aids. So you need to remember that if we are using common this particular thing, if you are using a singular noun, then you will be using singular pronoun as well. Okay. Now this look at these examples. The last two one. The team are divided. Now they are not one. They have different perspective. They have different thoughts. That's why they are not one. The jury are divided in there. Now if they would have been they would have not been divided, then I would have been using its. The jury is not divided in its opinion. Okay, I have to form this particular sentence now. But the jury, if jury is divided, then I'll be using are, and here I'll be using there. Okay, rule number 7. Some noun appear plural, but in meaning they are actually singular. So they are always used in singular. For example, the words economics, mathematics, crickets, billets, etc. So example, no news is good news. No news is good news. Politics is a dirty game. Economics is an interesting subject. So these are kind of nouns. They actually appear plural, but they are actually singular. So at times you need to somehow remember those. They like the subjects, the games, disease name like the measles and the rickets, games like billiards, subjects like economics, politics. So you need to consider those. Okay. Some nouns are actually used in singular form only. Why they are actually used in singular form only? Because they are actually uncountable. So nouns that you cannot count are not singular. They are not singular, but actually they are considered singular, and we actually use singular verb with them. And also article a and an is also not used with them. For example, like scenery, poetry, furniture, information, knowledge, luggage. So you cannot count the scenery. You cannot count the poetry. You can talk about the quality of a poetry, whether it's good or bad, but you cannot say it's a one poetry, it's a two poetry. Similarly, furniture. You cannot count furniture. You can count chair, tables, but you cannot count furniture. Okay. So the scenery of Kashmir, what people end up doing is they're writing is the sceneries of Kashmir are very charming. That's the wrong way of writing that particular sentence. The scenery of Kashmir is very charming. I have no information about her residence. Okay. Rule number 9, either means one out of two. Either means one out of two, but for one out of many, that means more than two, we actually use any or one. So when either is used as subject, it takes a singular form. Example: either of these three friends is naughty. That's a wrong way of writing. The right way: either of these two pen is red. So either of these two friends is naughty. Okay. One of these three friends is naughty. This is the right way of writing. Now why actually we are using singular verb with them? Simply because we are actually considering only one. So if I say either this one or this one, for example, these are two friends, so I'll be taking either him or either her if they are boy and girl. So I'll not be considering two two simultaneously. That's why I'm actually using singular noun. Okay, the singular verb for that reason. Okay, again, rule number 10 is actually similar to the previous. Neither means nothing out of two. Neither means nothing out of two, but for nothing out of many, that means more than two, we use none. When neither is used as subject, it takes singular form. Again, simple examples we have: neither of these two girls is active. It should not be are. None of his four sons looked after him. Okay, the last rule number 11, whenever you see these words, each, every, everyone, someone, somebody, nobody, none, one, any, many, more than one, they are actually singular in meaning. They all are singular in meaning and we know that with singular verb we use singular noun and we use singular pronoun. So please remember those things: singular verb, singular verb. If we have a singular subject, we use singular verb, singular noun, and singular pronoun. So these are some of the examples. Each student has come. Each boy and each girl has come. Now it's a really interesting one. This one: one must tolerate one's friend as well as one's enemy. Most of the students end up writing his enemy or something like that, or their enemy. Okay, so whenever you have a sentence which start with once, so try and complete that sentence using these sets of words only. One must tolerate one's friends as well as one's enemy. Many a student has not done his. Again, most of the students what actually they end up doing is writing there, okay, in place of this thing. More than one man was present. Again, most of the people end up writing because they see more than one, so they actually end up writing when, because they consider this to be this thing a subject. So more than one man was present. I hope you understood all these 11 rules. Actually they are really important one. Please keep revising these rules so that you don't face any difficulty while attempting your questions. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you.